But it's not my fault. Because consent is important, and I did not give it that night.
Katie Thurston opens up about being a sexual assault survivor on The Bachelorette. Hey guys, and welcome back to another Shared News from Home. We've got all the details you need to know about The Bachelorette, but before we get into it, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, I'm your host, Zachary Reality, and I am joined today by Gabby Gonta and Mariah Davis, and we have a bit of an intimate story to discuss today. Because during an intimate group date on The Bachelorette, Nick Viall, who hosted the date, asked the group to share stories from their past that they're not proud of. Hunter opened up about the struggles of being a divorced single dad. Connor the cat opened up about a time he was unfaithful with an ex, but it was the Bachelorette Katie who had everyone in tears when she shared a very vulnerable and raw moment of a time she didn't give consent. Now, before we kind of get into Katie and talking about her story, Gabby, was there one of the guys' stories that you really resonated with or really felt for that you have an opinion on?
Oh my gosh, so many of them. I would definitely have to say Hunter and Connors. I think those are the ones they kind of gave the most time to on the episode. But you could just tell that they were reliving those moments as they were telling the story to everybody. But then, by the end of their story, you could see it in their eyes how much they've grown, how much they've moved on, and how much of better men they were because of that. And I just give them so many props for opening up like that and really showing a side of themselves that didn't look great, right? But they were able to prove that they could grow and have matured since then. And that is so important, when you're trying to date someone and just seeing how you fit into their lives.
I 100% agree, Gabby. I felt very similarly about Hunter because it's not that I resonate with that story. I mean, honestly, there weren't a lot of stories that I could really personally relate to, but they all really, really touched my heart. I mean, to see these men just be completely vulnerable and honest, and it really shows how those mistakes or what they've done in the past has really affected them, but helped them find this road of growth and better things to come. So it made me really one thought I had was this didn't just connect each guy to Katie, it really connected the group as a whole. I mean, every contestant had a better understanding of each other. And, we always see every single year these solid friendships form with people in Bachelor Nation. But we really are going to, I think, experience that moving forward now with this group of guys because they all got to connect in a very unique way. I mean, I was trying to think of a time that we had seen something like this in past seasons. If you guys know of any, then
We
drop it
haven't.
down in the comments. But yeah, I mean, I haven't ever seen kind of a group therapy session like that. It was beautifully done. I mean, it's so therapeutic, especially under the stress that you would, I imagine, be feeling in the bachelor house or bachelorette house. So not one particular story was oh, I really relate to that, but gosh, they all really pulled on my heartstrings and I fell in love with this group of guys even more. I mean, obviously aside from Thomas, but
Yeah, definitely aside from Thomas, all of the guys got very vulnerable and deep and raw, and sharing, intimate stories from your past and mistakes you're not proud of are always so difficult. There's always tears, there's always emotions, but I think that you could see at the end of those conversations there was this heavy weight off of everyone's chest, and they all felt relieved, and they all felt like they were able to kind of express some of the mistakes they're not proud of and how they're going to move forward. So it's always hard to share vulnerable moments, but there's always that silver lining at the end because you will feel better afterwards. And Katie not only listened to the guys share moments, she actually had a story to tell of her own because, she feels that if the guys are going to open up, it's very important that she does as well. And Katie said, "I know you see me today as this very sex positive woman who's very confident, but she always hasn't been there."
I was involved in a situation where there wasn't consent. And that is not something I wish upon anybody.
This was about 10 years ago. Katie was sharing an experience that happened in college where she was having sex with a guy that she didn't really want to have sex with, but she thought that she had to. I think there was some manipulation involved. And, you're going to have to watch The Bachelorette to really see her whole full story about it.
And I was in denial about what happened. So much so that I tried to form a relationship with him because I didn't want to believe what actually had happened.
But Mariah, what did you think about Katie opening up and sharing her story?
It was really powerful. I think that the guys really created a safe space for her to open up. And I honestly don't think, at least it wasn't my impression, that that was her intention to open up with that story and that kind of group date. But I think, again, they created this space where everyone was being open and vulnerable and sharing things that they hadn't really ever shared, vocalizing things they hadn't yet vocalized. I mean, she even stated that her own mom didn't know this information. And wow, I mean, how crazy to listen to that story for the first time, on television, hearing that that happened to your daughter. I'm sure she probably they had a talk before the show aired, but definitely so powerful to see and to share that story, really normalizes the fact that this is something so many women and honestly so many men face today, is not giving consent and not knowing if it was their fault or where they went wrong, when in reality, like, you aren't to blame. So I loved her message there. And she even said, and I know it wasn't my fault. And I loved that. So bravo to Nick, all the rest of the guys who created such a safe space to just be vulnerable. And bravo to her for having like the courage to share that, because I'm sure so many people resonated with that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Mariah. I think you said it so well. And it did seem like Katie wasn't planning on opening up and sharing this, but since all of the other guys really got deep and she was crying listening to their stories, I think it was really put on her heart to sort of explain where she was coming from and give this background onto where she's been and where she is now. Because, like she even said, she is not afraid to talk about sex. She's super sex positive. It's been like that since Matt's season. Now it's her season. And so I think it's nice to hear this story and what happened to her, just to kind of know how she's evolved since then. Because she was saying, like, I had a really bad relationship with sex a long time ago. And so just knowing where she is now, it just is proof how far she's come, how she's moved on from this moment, how it's made her the woman that she is. And so it was just really eye-opening to see that, and we got to know Katie so much better as these guys did as well.
Yeah, I think those moments in your life, those difficult moments really define who you are and shape how you grow. And it was kind of interesting to hear, Katie talk about that experience because we've known her as the sex positive bachelorette. So it was really kind of gave us more detail and to say that it wasn't always like that. Because Katie revealed after this incident, she did have an unhealthy relationship with sex for years to come. She didn't want to have it, and she had to work very hard to become the sex positive confident woman in her body that she is today. She wanted to make it clear to all the men and the viewers watching at home that it is always important to give consent. No one should ever pressure you to have sex, nor should you ever feel pressure to have it. Katie went even one step further by sharing her story to her Instagram after the episode aired and tagging the nonprofit organization RAIN. RAIN is an organization that focuses on educating and helping others cope with sexual violence. They have a hotline you can call to get started, and Katie is letting you know that there is an entire network of people waiting to help and support you in need. So I think it's so awesome and important that Katie is using her story to help educate others and help others feel comfortable opening up or share their stories. What do you think Katie can do with her platform, Gabby, moving forward?
Yeah, that is a great point. I think it's so awesome that since Katie ended up sharing the story, that they kind of ran with it and said, a lot of people watch The Bachelorette and a lot of people are looking up to Katie right now. So we should definitely provide those resources for anyone who may have been going through this or have friends that have been going through this, or just kind of still have some of the emotional weight that carries, or any sort of situation like that carries. And so hearing Katie, recount this story, might have brought up some emotions in other people and viewers. So just to see that, she has been strong, she's been able to move past it, so much so that she is recounting it all on national television. Like, you have to be very confident and strong to be able to do that. So I think, yeah, as she continues as the Bachelorette, as the main lead of the show, and obviously growing her platform on social media as well, kind of all of that combining is going to be amazing, because she's been already such a leader in the Bachelor Nation world in terms of trying to make things right. She, even with the Chris Harrison situation, she was like, I don't feel comfortable with this man leading the show as the host. So she's already taken really strong stances in big issues, just to be an example and lead the way for other people. So I think she's only going to keep doing that as the season continues and as she just becomes this public figure that we can all look up to.
You're so right, I completely agree. So many people watch The Bachelorette, so many people are tuning into her social media, they wanna know what she's doing outside of filming the show. So I love that she's really using her platform to make a difference, and because there are such a large audience paying attention, I mean, why not really make it count? I think she even said something along the lines of how she didn't realize that it was sexual assault at that time. She didn't realize what it was at that time, and I love that she's providing a resource for those who feel like they have had an occasion or an experience that didn't feel right, and they can't really understand if it was a experience of sexual assault. And I think like providing this resource, Rain, or just really like educating people on her experience is going to make a lot of people realize maybe they did experience this, and there's also resources for them to help understand what happened, acknowledge it, and learn from it, and continue to share that message. So I love that she's doing that. We love to see people with big platforms using it for something that really counts.
Yeah, 100%. We stand with you, Katie. We support you, Katie. I think everyone really appreciates her being vulnerable, not just the viewers, but definitely the guys as well. And I think it definitely will bond them closer together. And this will help and inspire a lot of people. So that is everything we have to share with you guys today. So let us know what you guys think about Katie opening up. Definitely check out Rain if you ever need to open up about your own experience and you need help and guidance. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell because we will be back for more Bachelorette Nation updates and videos soon. As always, I'm your host, Zachary Reality, and I was joined today by Gabby Gonta and Mariah Davis. Go follow our social media handles on the screen right now and say hello. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.